Have you ever paused, truly paused, to wonder about the quiet significance of your birth month? Not just the month on your ID, but the atmosphere you were born into, the temperature of the air, the rhythm of the world, the subtle emotional undercurrent of the time. It might sound trivial, a detail, a curiosity, but to Carl Jung, one of the deepest minds in psychology, nothing in your personal story is without meaning. Not even the moment you first arrived in this world. To Jung, time wasn't just linear, it was symbolic. The month of your birth wasn't a coincidence. It was a reflection of the energetic patterns at play when you took your first breath. Imagine this, that your birth month carries a certain psychological tone, that it's quietly shaping your emotional tendencies, your inner landscape, and even the way your soul approaches life. It's not about fortune-telling. It's not superstition. It's about symbolism, something Jung deeply understood. Every part of the year holds a specific energy. Winter teaches stillness. Spring offers rebirth. Summer radiates fullness. And autumn brings reflection. Now imagine this. If nature moves in patterns, what if you too are born into one of those patterns? What if your story, your habits, your sensitivities, your recurring life themes are harmonizing with the larger rhythm of the world? In this video, we'll explore Jung's view of time, not as numbers on a calendar, but as portals of meaning. We'll walk through the months not as dates, but as mirrors, each one holding a symbolic key to understanding yourself more deeply. This isn't about putting yourself in a box. It's about discovering a pattern that's already been quietly shaping you all along. So take a breath. Set aside what you think you know, and join us on a journey through time, psyche, and the soul. Because what you're about to discover might not just change how you see your birth month, it might just change how you see your life. Carl Jung didn't see time the way most people do. To him, time was not just a sequence of days and months ticking away on a clock. It was a living pattern, something alive, symbolic, and deeply connected to our inner world. He believed the universe was structured around archetypes, universal patterns or energies that appear in stories, dreams, myths, and in the very cycles of nature. These archetypes are not just external, they live inside us. They shape the way we think, feel, love, suffer, and grow. Jung noticed that nature itself repeats these patterns. Think about the seasons. Winter is still, silent, inward. Spring bursts with beginnings. Summer reaches its full expression. Autumn brings letting go, reflection, and wisdom. Each season then carries its own psychological essence. Jung believed that we too are born into these symbolic energies, and that the month of our birth, a moment in nature's great rhythm, reflects something about our inner archetype. Not as fate, not as prediction, but as a symbolic imprint. Let's imagine for a moment. You're born in January. The earth is still, the light is faint, the air is crisp and cold. That moment in time carries a certain psychological vibration, a mood. Now compare that to someone born in May. The flowers are in bloom, the days are warm, life feels soft, sensual, and abundant. Two very different emotional landscapes, two very different energetic atmospheres. And Jung believed that difference matters. He saw time as an atmosphere, a symbolic environment we're born into. Each month has a tone, a mood, a spiritual weather. And when we arrive into this world, we don't come into a vacuum. We are born into a very specific emotional and symbolic field. In this way, your birth month is more than a date. It's a threshold. It's the emotional weather of your soul's arrival. This doesn't mean that your personality is fixed. Jung was clear. Archetypes are not cages. They are mirrors. They show us tendencies, patterns, inclinations, not limits. For example, if you're born in a transitional month, say March or September, you might carry a dual nature, a constant pull between two forces, stillness and motion, clarity and chaos, structure and flow. Whereas someone born in the heart of winter or summer, January or July, might embody more stable, anchored energy, more perseverance, clarity, and emotional consistency. But again, this is not about categories. It's about symbols. It's about patterns. It's about awakening to something deeper than personality, a glimpse into the energetic forces your soul may be naturally attuned to. Jung believed that self-knowledge was the foundation of freedom, and part of knowing yourself is understanding the energies you carry, the ones you were born into, the ones that might be guiding you, even if you're unaware of it. When we ignore the symbolic layer of life, we lose something. We reduce ourselves to habits, to labels, to surface-level traits. But when we return to symbol, to myth, to archetype, we begin to see ourselves not just as individuals, but as part of a greater unfolding story. And suddenly, time becomes alive. The calendar becomes a map, and your birth month becomes a whisper, telling you something you may have always felt, but never fully understood until now. Let us now walk into the symbolic landscape of each month, not as observers, but as travelers, stepping into the rhythm of the year, one archetype at a time. January, the sage or the elder. The year begins in silence. Snow blankets the earth. The air holds its breath. In many parts of the world, January is the stillest time. Quiet, reflective, cold. To Jung, January resonates with the archetype of the sage, also called the elder. This is the figure who has seen much and speaks little, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. People born in January often carry a quiet depth. They are not loud, but when they speak, others listen. There's a sense of inner maturity, a natural gravitation toward responsibility, patience, and long-term thinking. They tend to see life in the long arc, not in flashes of drama, but in cycles, like winter itself. They value clarity over noise, truth over popularity. But every archetype has its shadow. The sage can become too serious, too withdrawn, so focused on reflection that they forget how to play. January-born souls must learn to balance gravity with lightness, to hold their wisdom, yes, but also to make space for warmth, spontaneity, and connection. February, the visionary or the revolutionary. Winter lingers, but something begins to stir. Beneath the frost, a whisper of change. February is a month of tension between what is and what could be. It belongs to the visionary, the one who sees beyond the present moment, who dreams not of what is, but what should be. Those born in February are often rebels in disguise, not for the sake of disruption, but because they see a different future. They carry innovation in their bones. They resist confinement. They question norms and imagine new worlds. Often, they're misunderstood because their ideas are ahead of their time. They live with one foot in the now and one in the not yet. They are idealists, inventors, dreamers, and yet, their challenge is grounding. Visionaries can live too much in the sky, lost in thought, disconnected from action. Their growth lies in anchoring their dreams, finding ways to bring their insights into form, to build bridges between imagination and reality. March, the reborn or the awakener. Then comes March. The world begins to thaw. The earth softens. Life stirs. Light returns. March is a portal between winter and spring, between silence and movement. And those born in March often carry this energy of transformation. Jung saw in them the archetype of the reborn or the awakener. These are the souls who move between worlds. They carry both the grief of winter and the hope of spring. They are emotionally rich, spiritually sensitive, and intuitively aware of what lies beneath the surface. Often artistic, often empathic. They feel life deeply and may reinvent themselves many times over. But deep emotion can become a tide that overwhelms. March-born individuals may struggle with boundaries. Their inner world's so rich they sometimes forget the outer one. Their path is to honor their sensitivity without drowning in it, to awaken not just themselves but others through authenticity, compassion, and quiet courage. These first 3 months, January, February, and March, form a psychological arc, from stillness to vision to awakening. They remind us that wisdom begins in silence, that dreams grow in the cold, and that rebirth comes gently as the light returns. In the next section, we'll continue with April to June, months of movement, growth, and new energy. As we move deeper into the cycle of the year, we leave behind the soft rebirth of March and enter the vivid intensity of spring's full arrival. These next 3 months, April, May, and June, carry energies of action, construction, and curiosity. April, the warrior or the initiator. April arrives with fire. The days stretch longer. The winds grow warmer. Everything seems to move, and fast. This is the month of the warrior, the archetype of initiation, of courage, of bold beginnings. Those born in April carry an active, driving energy. They don't wait for life to invite them. They meet it head-on, natural starters, quick to act, passionate, assertive. They may not always know where the path leads, but they have the rare gift of momentum. This fire gives them strength, but without awareness, it can burn too fast. The warrior's shadow is impulsiveness, a tendency to rush, to push, to control. April-born souls must learn the art of restraint, the wisdom of timing. Their growth lies not in acting more, but in knowing when to act and when to simply be. May are the builder or the lover of simplicity. After the flame of April, May offers grounding. The world is in bloom. There is color, fragrance, warmth, and peace. May belongs to the builder, or the archetype of grounded simplicity. Here, life slows just enough to be savored. People born in May often have an earthy, sensual quality. They are loyal, steady, nurturing. They take joy in the tangible, the garden, the home, the meal shared in quiet comfort. Builders value what lasts. They create beauty through patience, through care, through presence. But even beauty can become a trap. Their challenge lies in rigidity, the fear of change, the resistance to disruption. May-born individuals must learn to embrace transformation without losing their rootedness, to hold on gently, to love without clinging, to build, but also to let life evolve. June, the seeker or the mediator. June is the midpoint of the year, the threshold between what is past and what's to come. It carries a lightness, an openness, and into this brightness steps the seeker. This archetype is drawn to exploration, not just of the world, but of the mind, the heart, the soul. June-born individuals are often curious, flexible, quick-minded. They move with ease between people, ideas, and experiences. They are natural communicators, connectors, storytellers. They long to understand, to bridge, to harmonize. But the gift of many paths can also become confusion. The seeker can lose direction, pulled by too many possibilities. Their challenge is centering, to pause the search long enough to listen within, to know that not every answer lies out there. Some live in silence. When grounded, seekers become messengers of clarity, guides who weave insight from the many threads they carry. These 3 months show us the movement of life in full swing. April ignites, May grounds, June explores. Together they teach us that action without purpose is noise, that peace without change becomes stagnation, and that curiosity without depth becomes distraction. In the next section, we enter the emotional and transformative second half of the year, from the deep waters of July to the winter wisdom of December. As the wheel of the year turns, the outer world becomes warmer, fuller, and eventually quieter, and so does our inner world. July, August, and September mark the beginning of emotional maturation, leadership, and the pursuit of meaning through structure. July, the nurturer or the protector. July arrives with warmth, not just in the air, but in the heart. It is a month of gathering. Families come together. The world softens. The days invite closeness. This is the domain of the nurturer or the protector. Those born in July often carry profound emotional intelligence. They sense the feelings in a room before a word is spoken. Their strength lies not in force, but in care. They protect. They provide. They hold others through storms. Home, memory, family, and loyalty form the bedrock of their world. But care can become overextension. In always giving to others, they may forget themselves. The shadow of the nurturer is self-neglect, or bearing their own needs to maintain harmony. Their path is to learn that true protection includes the self, that boundaries are a form of love, and that sometimes stepping back is the greatest act of care. August, the sovereign or the leader. August is full expression. The sun is high, the world is bright, there is a sense of authority in the air, of presence. August belongs to the sovereign, the archetype of the king, the queen, the leader. Those born in August often carry natural charisma. They walk into a room and the room shifts, not out of ego, but out of purpose. They are here to guide, to inspire, to stand tall, not above others, but for others. Leadership runs through their blood, and with it, a longing to make impact. But power must be balanced with humility. The sovereign's shadow is pride or control. They may feel isolated in their role or crushed by the weight of expectation. August-born individuals grow by learning shared power, to lead with grace, to serve without ego, to shine without burning others in their light. September, the analyst or the perfectionist. Then comes September. The air sharpens, the light turns gold. Harvest begins, reflection deepens. This is the month of the analyst, the one who sees clearly, who refines, who brings order to chaos. Those born in September are often thinkers, organizers, system makers. They are drawn to detail, logic, precision. They feel most alive when things make sense, when everything has its place. They are the quiet architects of clarity. They ask the hard questions. They seek truth through structure. But structure, too, can become a prison. The analyst's shadow is perfectionism, a fear of failure, a fear of flaws. They may become self-critical, rigid, unable to move forward unless things feel just right. Their journey is to embrace imperfection as part of beauty, to find grace in the unfinished, and rest in the unknown. These 3 months speak to the depth of being human. July teaches love that protects. August calls us into leadership with integrity. September reminds us that truth lies not just in control, but in acceptance. As we cross the threshold into autumn, the energy begins to contract. Outer expansion gives way to inner refinement. And in the final chapter of the year, October through December, we will see the energies of artistry, transformation, and wisdom take root. As the seasons shift once more, we enter the quiet half of the year. The outer world slows down, leaves fall, darkness comes earlier, and inside us, something begins to stir. The final months, October, November, and December, invite reflection, alchemy, and inner vision. October, the diplomat or the artist. October is beauty in transition. It is harmony in motion, balance before letting go. The air is crisp, the leaves are fire, the light turns softer. This is the month of the diplomat or the artist. Those born in October are drawn to symmetry, inner and outer. They seek harmony, not only in relationships, but in the world itself. They are natural peacemakers, sensitive to emotional nuance, and often gifted in aesthetics, communication, and connection. They want to build bridges, to turn conflict into conversation, to turn difference into art. But the longing for peace can become avoidance. The shadow of the diplomat is fear of confrontation, sacrificing truth to preserve the illusion of balance. October-born souls must learn that true harmony isn't the absence of tension. It's the courage to face it with honesty and grace. When integrated, they become artists of the human heart, creating beauty not by escaping difficulty, but by transforming it. November, the alchemist or the deep transformer. November is mystery. The world darkens, the trees bare their branches. There is silence, depth, and something sacred in the air. This is the domain of the alchemist, the one who enters the dark to find the light within. Those born in November are often intense, intuitive, and emotionally fearless. They do not shy away from what hurts. They are drawn to what lies beneath the surface. They are spiritual seekers, soul divers. Their life is not linear. It is cyclical, marked by death and rebirth, loss and renewal. They are here to transform, not only themselves but others, through truth, depth, and inner power. But their shadow is heaviness. They can be consumed by pain, lost in complexity, or obsessed with control. The path for November-born souls is trust, to surrender to the process of transformation, knowing that even in endings, something sacred is being born. When embraced, they become catalysts of healing, guides who walk with others into the fire and out the other side. December, the sage or the visionary teacher. And then, December, the year's closing chapter, a time of endings and beginnings imagined. This month carries the essence of the sage once more, but this time, not as the quiet elder of January, but as the visionary teacher, one who looks back with wisdom and forward with hope. Those born in December often carry both light and depth. They are philosophical, expansive. They see the world as interconnected, woven with meaning and possibility. They long to teach, to guide, to inspire. Their voice carries the tone of higher truth. Their presence uplifts. Their gaze is broad, but even wisdom can drift. The sage's shadow is disconnection, floating too far into the abstract, losing touch with the moment, or growing disillusioned when reality doesn't match the ideal. Their growth lies in embodiment, to live what they know, to ground insight into daily action, to be not just a thinker, but a living example of what they believe. These final months remind us that life is not just about growing outward, but inward. October teaches us to soften through art. November calls us into the fire of transformation. December lifts our gaze toward vision, legacy, and meaning. Each month, a mirror. Each season, a story. Each archetype, a whisper from the soul. And now that we've walked the circle of the year, we begin to see. Our birth month was never random. It was a message, a rhythm, a beginning. By now you may have begun to see the subtle connection between the time you were born and the shape of your inner world. But let us pause for a moment and remember something essential. This is not about putting you into a mold. This is not about defining who you are by a month on the calendar. This is not a system of limits, but of symbols. Carl Jung never intended archetypes to confine us. To him, they were starting points, maps, reflections, not prescriptions. Your birth month is not your fate. It does not lock you into a single way of being. Instead, it offers a language to name what you may have always felt, but could never quite articulate. It gives you a mirror, not a cage. Each archetype we've explored, the sage, the warrior, the artist, the alchemist, they are not fixed identities. They are energetic patterns, inner climates you may naturally resonate with. You may find that one month speaks to you more than your own. You may even carry qualities from multiple archetypes. And that's the beauty of this exploration. It's not about reducing you. It's about revealing you, layer by layer, symbol by symbol. Jung believed that within each of us is a deeper process at work, something he called individuation. This is the journey of becoming whole, of integrating all parts of the self, light and shadow, masculine and feminine, conscious and unconscious. And in this journey, symbols are your companions. They help you decode your inner world. They help you understand why certain patterns repeat, why certain emotions return, why certain roles call to you again and again. Your birth month may be one of those clues, a symbolic doorway that opens not into destiny, but into awareness. Because real transformation doesn't come from knowing your archetype. It comes from engaging with it, questioning it, dancing with it, letting it speak to you and through you. And as you do, you may find that what you once thought was random, the time of year you were born, was always whispering to you. Not who you must be, but what is waiting to be remembered. So now you've walked through the year, from the quiet wisdom of January to the expansive vision of December, from stillness to becoming, from birth to rebirth. But this was never just a journey through months. It was a journey through mirrors, each reflecting a hidden part of who you are. The archetype linked to your birth month is not a definition. It is an invitation to notice, to reflect, to begin a deeper dialogue with the self. Because your story is not written only in your memories, it's also written in patterns, in rhythms, in the silent agreements your soul made long before you knew how to speak them. Carl Jung believed that self-understanding is sacred, that to explore your depths is not self-indulgence, but an act of courage. And when we pay attention to the symbolic forces that live within us, not to judge them, not to label them, but to learn from them, we begin to live with greater clarity and greater freedom. So what does your birth month mean? It may mean a beginning, a doorway, a map, not to tell you who you are, but to help you remember what's always been true beneath the noise. You are not your habits, not your fears, not your conditioning. You are a living process, a soul in motion. And the more deeply you understand the symbolic language of your life, the more you can walk your path with purpose, with presence, and with peace. Perhaps now, when you see your birth month on a calendar, you won't just see a date. You'll see a rhythm. You'll hear a quiet echo. You'll feel home.